Hi, it's John here from the Professional Nail School at Beauty Academy. I've now got my dummy hand here, and first thing I need to do obviously is cut the nails down to length with my clippers, and then I'm just going to file them into a round shape, filing from one direction of course when you're working on natural nails. Don't forget to do that. No sawing like this backwards and forwards. I'm just going to take it down to a length that I can put on the tip. Just leave a little bit of free edge showing, so don't go right back to the pink line, which is what we call the smile line. So I'm just going to take off some little bits from underneath like this, and then I need to obviously push back the cuticles, which obviously there's no cuticles on here, but you just push back the cuticles like this. And then we need to actually attend to the cuticles. Now on our course, obviously we teach you fully how to do the cuticles. So once you push them back, you would then clip off any excess. If the cuticle's really dried onto the nails and it's quite heavy, you can use something like this, which is a diamond bit, although you need to be very careful with these because obviously we don't want to go through the nail plate. So we'll just put it on quite slow, holding it flat on the nail. We will just work around the cuticle area. And sometimes you can come down here as well and up there, but obviously it wouldn't sound like that on a real person. If I do it on mine, for instance, you can see it's quite quiet, but actually on a dummy hand it's quite loud. Don't be put off by that. Once you've done that, I'm now just going to get my sanding band, which is a fine or 240 grit or above, and I'm going to make sure it's running very, very slow because I don't want it to actually damage the natural nail. All I'm doing actually is just taking any skin off the nail plate. So I'm just going to go around like this, come down that side, and then I will then go up this side. And we will, on our course, we will make sure that we show you the correct way to file with the e-file, so that you're not going to do any damage to that client's nail, because that is very, very important. We don't want to damage the client's nail. So that's why we run it very, very slow. And don't overdo the filing. After you've prepped all your nails, the next thing to do is just get some alcohol or acetone and just wipe over the nail surface to dehydrate the nail plates. So once you've tailored your tip to fit by filing at the sides if necessary, you can get your glue, give it a shake, bring the glue brush out, and then just drag the brush down like this to actually fill up the well with glue. Now these hands, they don't always stick too well, so you will have to hold them longer than you would on a real client's nail. So we just come down, find the edge, roll forward, and just check each side. You have got a little while to move it. On a real hand, obviously you'll need to move it quite quickly because it will set quite quick. But I will need to hold this longer to make sure that it is set. And as you can see, the well is clear. It's not, there's no air trapped in there. There we are, we're stuck on now. Just going to hold it a bit longer, And then I'm just going to make sure I catch these two corners here to make sure that they are stuck down as well. There we are. See how it's all clear under here? No air pockets at the front. And that is most important. Just an even colour all the way through. There we are, and it's not sticking up in the air, it's just fit just on there, really natural. So next thing to do, I'm going to cut it to length. I'm not going to make it too long, about there maybe. Just snip through, and there we have our nail. So now we just need to shape it. So I'm just going to go up the sides like this, and up the sides like this. And I do have a video on shaping, which is all the different shapes that you can do. You want to go up the sides like this. And then hold it really tight so you can go across the end. Now obviously the shapes that you do will depend on what the client wants. But if I'm doing a more of a almondy shape, I will just put my file on this corner here and go towards the center here. So I'll go like this, do across like that, and then I'll just go through this little corner here. Now, when you're actually filing on these dummy hands, keep tight hold of the nail so it doesn't pop off on you. So now I've got that there, I'm just going to flick out that little bit and just gently flick those bits out. Now I need to do the same the other side, same angle, come out and go into that corner there. Now, some people use scissors to cut this off, which is fine. I like to file it because I can stop when I want. So there we have our two angles. So again, I'm just going to take these out from underneath like this, flick them up, and then I'm just going to bring that round there, that round there. And I want to look at it from the top so I can see the shape. And I just want to look from the side as well here so I can see how it's coming off the side wall, because it obviously wants to come off in line with it. I always think the hardest part of any nail course is actually the nail shaping, because that does take practice. And that's where these practice hands really come into their own, because you can practice to your heart's content all the different shapes, and then you can just stick a new tip on and have another go. So that's why I like these. So I'm just going to bring that top round a little bit there, into that top. And there we have a nice almond shape. So I'm going to make sure I get all these bits out from underneath. On a real person, I'd probably flick them out with the block, corner of the block, and then just do some up strokes just to get rid of those. I like to put the black of my file underneath so I can actually see what I'm doing as well. So once that's done, I'm now going to go over the surface, take off the shine off the tip. Again, as I said before, it does make a little bit of a noise, but on a real person it won't do that noise. So as you can see, I'm doing forward strokes only. I'm not scrubbing, what we call scrubbing, because this is rotating very fast, and if I go backwards and forwards with the backward one, it can fly off like that. because it goes with the spin, you see. So that's why we only do forward strokes. Now I need to just blend this line in. So I'm going to put this at 45 degrees using the front edge here and just pull along that in forward strokes. Just pull along towards yourself, because what you don't want to do is file the natural nail. Just be careful in the corners, that's where it can be quite sensitive. And don't forget, you've got to go up that way if you're doing it that way. Right, so now I'm just going to switch that off, get my file, and just with the corners, just check the corners out that we're not protruding in any way. And there is our tip stuck on. And it's been blended in and the shine off the tip as well. So I'm going to use some primer. You don't really need to do this on this dummy hand because it's just a dummy hand. I'll just do it just to show you what I'm doing. So that just goes onto the natural nail. Obviously don't flood the nail, very small amount. And it on a real nails it kind of soaks in. Okay. So I've got some EMA monomat. Remember, not MMA, EMA. Got my brush here. And what I'm going to do first off, I'm just going to put, because I'm using a colour powder, I'm going to put a thin coat of clear onto this nail. And just take it off the tip, pick up my powder, like that, place it here, just tap it down at the back, and then just drag it down the nail. Very thin coat. Make sure you keep the sides clear. Don't let it build up in the sides. I use my nails like this, see? I'm just going to get a little bit, just pop it on the front, like that. Dry my brush, tap it out, brush it back. Any hangover, scrape it off the sides. So this is just a thin base coat that I'm putting on. So let's have a look. That looks okay to me. Maybe just a little tiny bit here. And just brush that out. You'd go along all your nails, obviously. So now I'm just going to get this green colour that I've got here. Just pick up, pop it on the nail. Just pat it down so it just goes up to the cuticle, and then just drag it out. Obviously don't spend too much time patting it down, otherwise you'll find it won't move. Just keep it nice and clear at the sides, don't let it go over onto the skin. Turn the hand on its edge so I can see this side here. The reason I've turned it over is so that it doesn't run down into the side walls. And obviously if this was a nicer pink on these fingers, it would look a bit better. It would cover better. Let's just fill that there. So I'm just trying to get a depth of colour with the colour that I'm putting on. Oh, there's a saturated colour with no gaps in the colour. I suppose one advantage of having the dark nail underneath is that you can see where you haven't got enough products on to get your saturation of your colour. Don't forget, clean the sides as you go along. Let's turn this way a little bit. See, it needs a bit there. So I think that's about it on the colour there. Making sure, keep the sides nice and clear. Right, so now I'm going to get this one here, which is a bit of glitter. I'm going to pop that on front here. This is one called it's called Christmas Tree from Glitter Bells. Very nice colour. And you can kind of fade it up like that. Looks quite nice. And twist over on the side to make sure that we haven't missed any little bits where you want them to be. And I do the same the other side, just to make sure we have got to the edges. Now, what we need to do now is to encapsulate that in clear. So I'm going to encapsulate it now. So maybe I'll start at the front here, like this. Just tap that out. Brush it back. Keep the sides nicely shaped. Don't let them overload on their sides. Now you want to get your colour on as thin as it will go, and use your clear to build up your shape, your apex and so on. So I'm just letting that sit there for a second or two, and then because I've delayed slightly, it will leave it thicker in that area. And of course you should be inspecting it from the side. Look at the side from there, so you can see that the shape is right. Pop you at the back. Just tap, 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 and then brush that down. Don't get it over the skin at the back, very important. Let's have a look. Okay. Now, I would recommend that you always encapsulate colour powders. They just file better if you do that. Right, so now that it's set, I'm now going to file up the sides first, into the side walls. Obviously you must prep your file beforehand, take the edges off so that you're not going to cut your client. Just make sure your shape is still where you want it. Now I'm going to file against my finger now. So I'm going to put my finger there and then file against my finger to stop me running onto the client. Come down like this. Put your thumb here so you can file against your thumb. Again, so you're not cutting your client's skin. So I'm coming off the top into the sides. I'm going to get my electric file and I'm going to get my drill bits. Just have to go and get it. Hold on. Right, I'm back. Let's pop this onto here. And there are many different kinds of drill bits, but I tend to only use this one and this one. They're the only two I really use. And maybe the diamond bit on the cuticles. So let's turn this up. I'm going to take it a lot faster now. Let's try 20. I'm just going to go around the back. So you want to be filing down so that it's flush into the cuticle. I'm just going to come down the nail. And if you put your acrylic on in the right proportions, there shouldn't be very much filing to do, to be honest. Might go across a little bit. And that's about all I need to do on that. So I'm going to get my hand file and I'm going to hold it like this. If you watch my video on using hand files, it will help you do the right movements with the file, although I will stress it is my way of filing, so I mean there are other ways, of course. Everyone has their own little ways of doing things. This is just the way I do it. Go on to the smooth side. If it's a long nail, just put your finger under here to stop it bouncing up and down. And always use the fingers on your left hand to protect your client's skin. Get my block. Keep your block in contact with the surface and twist the finger so you can go round the nail. Just the corners of your block like this. See into the corners. Make sure it's not sharp underneath. When you feel it's smooth enough, get some alcohol and wet it. Now when you wet it, you should be able to see what it's going to look like when you've actually got your gel polish on top. You'll be able to revolve it in your light to see if there's any little dents or dips in there. And then all you've got to do then is apply your top coat. So I've got my top coat here, which is a no wipe. I'm just going to apply that now. And all your glitter should come back to life. Just apply it. Nice long strokes. Just check there's none on the skin before it goes into the light. get your lamp and just zap it for 60 seconds. One last thing to do would be to just put your cuticle oil around, and then that's finished. Right, so there's the finished nail, and this is John at the nail school signing out. I'll see you next time.